Give us a quick recap on what the EV1 is real quick.
Mid-90s to late 90s, attempt by GM to satisfy the California Emissions Board, California Air Resources Board, whatever it's called, CARB. They were requiring that any company selling vehicles in California meet specific standards, and GM put it through the paces, this electric vehicle like pilot program, and the people that got them really loved them. So
they leased them. They didn't sell them to anyone.
No, this is before that. So they made a pilot program with a couple of them that looked almost exactly like what the production version looked like, and people loved them. So they went for it. And because GM was not very interested in actually making electric cars, which now they have like the widest like selection of electric cars of any company, but whatever. They weren't that interested, so they did it in such a way that they could get all of the cars back. And nobody really knows why. That mystery hasn't been solved. When the EV1 project ended, when California changed their minds and they were like, hey, actually, we don't really care that much about you guys doing that, and, you know, you can go back to just status quo ante before we were requiring this level of efficiency. And GM was like, well, anyone who has their EV1 in the shop will never get it back. There were people that had sent it in for warranty work or had just dropped it off to get worked on, and they just didn't get it back. And this inspired a ton of lawsuits. People loved their EV1s. They were unique. They were different. You wouldn't see another one on the road. They solved the commuter problem. They were tiny. They were fairly cool because they were so unique. But GM just didn't give them back. And then when the leases were up, they used a clause saying they don't have to renew the lease. And every single one, except for roughly 40, that number is not confirmed. Roughly everyone except for about 40 of them were crushed thoroughly. The 40 that didn't get crushed ended up getting lent out to universities or research projects, and the whole point was to let them sort of study the car. However, the guy at what's his name? The Questionable Garage and Electrek Garage. This guy is from Electrek Garage. They both have great videos on this. I recommend you watch it. It's fascinating. Most of what I find fascinating here isn't the electric car part. It's that GM seems to hate this car and the fact that they were ever involved in it. As recently as 2022, they went after somebody because part of the lease giving it to these universities, they said you are the lending, because they said it does not belong to this university. It still belongs to GM, and it will be removed if you make any attempt at getting it roadworthy again. And of course, engineers with spare time at a college go like, look at this electric car. Why don't we fiddle with it?
A lot of them, though, fell into disarray because there's no parts for this thing.
Right. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So they end up sitting around. And this one specifically was sitting around in a back lot, and at one point or another had a brick thrown through the window. Somebody tried to break into the trunk, and it looked pretty abandoned. They had it for so long that even the University of whatever, it was in Georgia, some university forgot that it was even theirs. Nobody that worked there nobody that worked there when this was taken in and used as a research tool still worked there. Nobody knew what it was for. It was just a car in a parking lot. So they called a salvage company, or not salvage, tow company, to go like, hey, tow this person's car. We don't know whose it is. Meanwhile, it's theirs. It's actually GM's. And then the tow company went through all the hoops they have to go through, which are thorough. And again, the Questionable Garage guy goes over all of the hoops they have to jump through in order to take possession of a vehicle in the state of Georgia. And they did all of it. Dotted every I, crossed every T. Put out, even in the local newspaper, they said, hey, this car is going to become ours. That was in print. They had to put out advertisements.
But it's still GM's.
Right. GM is the rightful owner. But if the rightful owner doesn't claim an abandoned car in the state of Georgia and many other states, in order to recoup the cost of having to tow and store, if no one ever comes and picks up the car and you do all of these things like advertise it in print and then spend X number of hours or whatever, you check all these boxes to let the public know that you have this specific car. No rightful owner shows up, it's yours. It is legally the property of that tow yard. It is the only EV1 ever to end up in private hands. Now, a couple of them have been stolen or lost, but as far as legally speaking, none of them have ever ended up in private hands.
What's this guy's life insurance policy like?
Right? So this is where it gets extra cool. The guy who bought it, so the Questionable Garage goes over this again. Go watch his video. He went and started bidding on it. He bid on this thing when it was like $800 because it's at a tow yard near him. So he's like, oh my gosh, there's an EV1? No way. There's no way that this is going to hold up, but I'm going to bid on it, right? And it gets to like $6,000 and he's like, I'm out. I can't. And then he contacts Rich Rebuilds, he's a big EV fan, another YouTuber. And they start talking because he's nearby. He can always go get it if Rich wants him to get it, right? And they talk about like, oh, we're going to get these people in on it. We're going to do collaborations with these other YouTubers that know battery tech and they know these motors. And pretty soon it hits $60K. And then Rich is like, I'm out. $60,000 is, I'm not spending $60,000 on something that's going to give me 2 or 3 good videos. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. Someone swoops in and buys it for $104,000. This tow yard normally sells cars for like $800. It's just parked out there with all these other ratty POS vehicles that get abandoned, or people that got them towed because they were driving drunk and then yell at the people at the counter because they want them to give their car back for free or whatever.
So they like doubled their yearly revenue in one sale.
Oh, way more than that. Once they saw that it was going kind of wild, and as the moment the sale closed, it was disappeared from the website. They hired armed security for their lot.
Yeah.
So no one would come and try and take it.
That's smart.
They hired extra armed security for a lot full of $400 cars.
I mean, I'd say that's overpriced, but like, what do you put a price on?
It's the only one.
Like,
it's the only one.
It's worth whatever someone wants it for.
So anyway, of course, Questionable Garage and all these other guys that are watching this guy, Electric Garage, everyone's watching this sale go for like whatever couple of days because it's making headlines, right? Mm-hmm. And they see it's purchased for over $100,000, and they all had the same reaction. They're like, GM bought it.
GM swooped in. They're like, oh, yeah. Let's take that back.
They've spent more than that just on lawyer fees to get rid of this freaking thing. Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket to GM. They're like, yeah, we're going to take that off the platform. Nope. And Rich texts the guy from Questionable Garage, and he goes, hey, the guy's profile picture on the auction website is an electric S10. I think he's one of us.
Not GM.
Not GM. And he just goes by Billy. His face is blurred out in this video. He just goes by Billy. He's totally anonymous. He's not a YouTuber. He's just a huge fan. He's got 12 electric S10s.
How many did they make?
I don't know. Like
13?
I don't know. A few hundred. Apparently, they in order to get this running, because this has the same running gear as an electric S10. In order to get this running, they have 12 S10s between him and then one other guy who has 2. They have 12 that they're willing to totally part out and donate any and all components they need to get this going. It is a huge collaboration between a bunch of smaller YouTubers. They all have like 10, 30, 40,000 subscribers. And someone else donated the use of this shop, which they're not allowed to say where it is or who owns it or what it's normally used for.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all in secret. And anyway, so it's the secret garage owner, the Autopian was the guy from the Autopian wrote the article. Billy, who's the vehicle owner, Rich Rebuilds, Questionable Garage, and Electric Garage. This guy from Electric Garage, Riley, I think is his name. He is a battery communication specialist for his day job. That's what he does. He works on battery tech and how they communicate. So this thing is like his favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So anyway, really cool story.
So bizarre.
And the only reason it's so interesting is because GM is so interested in getting rid of them.
It's definitely like the Streisand effect.
That's exactly what it is.
It's like, what does GM not want to happen with this car?
Right. And then, so someone spent $104,000 on what is effectively an electric Saturn.
From the 90s.
Yeah. Like all of the service manuals were in the trunk. And they all turned to mold together into bricks.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But the guy had already gotten a hold of original electric or EV1 service manuals. The original paperback ones. Mm-hmm. And he has digital versions. The guy's got, Billy, the owner, has got every scrap. He's got spare parts from these things he's managed to pull off of eBay over the years. And just happened to be that this thing comes up and he has the money to make it happen.
That's wild.
He is probably...
If this shop randomly like burns down or something like...
Yeah. So Billy managed to, not only is he like the world's biggest EV1 enthusiast, he had the means and the parts to make this happen. So over the next probably year, they're going to get this thing. Their goal is to have it done by November 30th of 2026, which would be exactly 30 years from the release of the first one.
Wow.
Or maybe it was the last one that rolled off the line. I forget, but it's 30 years from one of those anniversaries. But I thought it was really cool when he's like, I think it's one of us. They just see the guy, it just says Billy in an S10 electric. I'm like, do you know how much their hearts probably jumped? Like, oh, and then turns out the guy from Questionable Garage, he's like, wait a minute. I know that picture. It's his friend that didn't say anything. He texts him, he goes, was it you? Nothing else, just says, was it you? And he calls back, he's like, you want to go pick it up?
That's crazy.
So then he got to,
wow.
He's like, I'm sorry. I am not a good YouTuber right now. I'm just out here geeking out over this car. Mm-hmm. And you walk past all these other ratty ass cars with holes in windows and whatever. And you walk out, and then it's just like the one of one, only privately owned EV1 ever made is just sitting there among all these other POS cars. And one of the security guards was like, I told my daughter I'd buy that for her, just as like a piece of crap roundabout car. I was just making fun of her. I was just giving her a hard time. Little did he know that it would be the same cost of all the vehicles they've had in and out of there in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And
well, good on the tow company for not being like, oh yeah, the listing disappeared once it went past like 20K,
and then relisting it and trying to get more,
and just buy it themselves or whatever.
Yeah, they're very standoffish and irritable because everyone that comes up to the counter is a drunk asshole that just wants their DUI mobile back, and then when they're like, oh, we're here for the EV1, and then everyone was very, very kind. They're like, oh, look, oh, you're the reason we're all getting bonuses this year.
Would you like a mint? That's really cool. I'm excited to hear what happens with that.
Oh yeah, you need to go watch both the Electric Garage video and the Questionable Garage video.